To the Pool Nation podcast, where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. We talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. Now let's welcome your host, with over a decade of industry insider experience and still the reigning champion of Marco Polo, Edgar De Jesus, and his co-hosts, John J.J. Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and Zach the Pool Boy Nicholas.
Welcome, everyone, to the Pool Nation Live podcast with myself, your host, Edgar De Jesus. And yes, I am the reigning champion of Marco Polo, along with John J.J. Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and the famous Zach, the Pool Boy Nicholas. Today, we continue our conversation on red flags and qualifying new customers. I want to welcome everyone to our live podcast, the podcast where it's all pool talk, and we ain't talking about netting and jetting and splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. And yes, we will talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. But before we get started today, I want to thank our sponsors for this podcast, The Ultimate Pool Tools, SPPA, PoolInvoice.com, Blu-ray XL, Aquastar Pool Products, and Pivot Pool Products. We want to thank them for their continued support. Zach, good morning. How you doing?
Wow, what an eventful week it has been. With the Dallas trip is where we left off, and you guys already know, but when we got back, I had a nice surprise Monday morning when we got to the shop, and so they started up the first truck for the day, and it sounded like a freaking dragster out there. And everyone was like, "Oh, what's going on?" And they started looking under the truck, and someone had kindly come through Sunday and relieved us of 8 catalytic converters. So that was a nice surprise. And we had to run on Monday. We couldn't do anything. So I got all these guys just firing up these trucks, and just driving around town with their V8s. But started cycling them out, started getting them to the repair shop. But just what a shitty mess, and they did it at 9 a.m. in daylight, and they're all over our security cameras. You just can't see their facial features, but you can see them clear as day. And so getting through that has been fun.
Yeah, that didn't seem like it was a good morning for you. You seemed a little on edge, right, John?
Yeah. I mean, what a shitty thing to wake up to, right? I have to deal with. I mean, as a business owner, you got plenty of. There's enough that we have to deal with on a day in and day out, right, basis, especially when you have employees and you have a team like Zach does. And then not only that, I mean, you have life and family, right? That is also occupying mind space at all times. And then you go to work with a plan, as I know Zach always does, and then he gets bombarded or he gets sideswiped with some bullshit like this. It's I can only imagine how frustrating it was for him. But yeah, I don't know. Not even a but. I mean, what garbage, right? That we have to do that. You go in there, you bust your ass, you work day in and day out, and you got some knucklehead punk thinking stealing from you is the way to go instead of going out there and earning his keep. It is something that we unfortunately have to deal with no matter where you're at in the country. And sucks, Zach. I feel bad, brother. But a good thing is I mean, you're in a position. I mean, you can get through it, and you're smart enough, and you made it happen. And you had a little fun with it, with the noise of the trucks. I'm sure.
You see that video?
Yeah, that was cool.
Good.
And that's the good approach to take, right? Because you just shake them off. Just like haters that you have everywhere in life. You just whatever, and just move on and get through it. trying to find a way to prevent it from happening again, though, that might be a pretty interesting task for you. And I know that is something that'll probably eat away at you, because the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a position where it'll happen again. But what are you going to do? Go get a 50-car garage and park all your trucks in it, right? I don't know, but sucks for you. As for me, I'm tired as hell today, and
The struggle's real.
The struggle is real. I'm very tired today, and we officially moved. Officially. I know we said before we did some of our pools, or the majority of our pools, but now we are 100% off on Saturday and doing our pools today. And I'm a creature of habit, like I believe most humans are, regardless. And when you're used to something and you do something every day, day in and day out, and it's like you're almost like a mindless zombie after a while, especially, it just the weeks just blur by, the days go by, and everything is like, this is what I do on Thursdays, this is what I do on Fridays, this is where I drive. I was telling some of my friends on the phone, you can put a blindfold over me, and I can make it to every stop or wherever I need to go without even knowing where I'm at. But when you throw a curveball like this and we do things differently, it throws me for a loop. And I hate surprises, and I hate not being in that situation before. So anyways, that's me. So if I'm a little short today and a little out of it, I'm very sorry. But I got a lot on my mind too.
Now, I have to ask, on the video that you did, Zach, for the truck, was that a stick shift?
No, so these trucks have like the automatic thing. You can like click it over to do the up, down, and the gears. And what I was doing was I was like manipulating it and then doing all the little hesitations, like I'm clutching and stuff. And so it was the best is like I pulled out on the road and there was a Challenger. Like I was taking a right turn onto the main road and he was like coming through at the same time. And I just gunned it and every little like hesitation. And he's like, what in the hell is going on right now? People mowing their yard, you're driving by, they're just giving you the evil eye and stuff. Sorry.
That's funny.
But
So
I was going to have my fun.
Yeah, and it sounded like it was fun. So that was a good time. So, hey, Zach, how did you like the trip out here to Dallas last week?
That was such a good time. And I can't believe the way that the podcast turned out. It just looks so great. All the different camera angles and everything. That was really cool. That was a really fun experience. Can't wait to do it again with all of us.
Yeah. Excuse me. So we're super excited. We had a great time. I'm super excited because, guys, this Sunday we have 12 people flying into town. I'm super pumped about it.
It's going to be fun.
We should show up. We should show up, John.
We should, right? Just crash the party.
Definitely going to be. It's definitely going to be fun out there. So we have.
Look, I'll tell you this.
Go ahead.
Be careful, because the first thing we did, Janie was looking at, now that we have Saturdays and Sundays off, which means that we can leave Friday night to go somewhere, right, and have Saturday and Sunday. We haven't had 2 days back to back off in a long time. She's already planning all these trips for us that we're going to go do. We're going to go here. We're going to go to the beach. We're going to blah, here. Maybe go to Tahoe. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And I'm sitting there going, okay. And we're looking at like the calendar for flights to Texas and thinking, how many times are we going to fly out to Texas in between now and then, right? So we might just be now that we have those back-to-back days. So I won't give you a warning next time. I'll just show up at the house.
Just be knocking on the door.
Be knocking on the door. What's
but
for
you
dinner?
know, he would just on the fly be like, "Oh, cool, come on, let's go.
Let's roll, baby." Because that's how I roll. I'm like, let's go.
What's for dinner?
So we went out with Janie and Todd. What was it? Saturday? No, it wasn't Saturday night because that was Thursday night. And typical thing, John. So we go out, we hit tenders, we're getting some food. Everybody's full. We're coming back. I'm ready to keep going. I'm like, Jamie's never been to Buc-ee's. So I'm like, I'm just ready to do a trip. Let's go, and everybody's just like, oh, we're tired. Oh, we want to go to sleep. Oh, I'm like, whole bunch of what. So I'm like, we're just ready to close places down, and everybody's just ready to go home and go to bed. So,
well, it's hard to keep up with your energy because you definitely have energy, for sure. you're like you're, I don't know if it's whether you're all wound up really. But fuck, man, you are like always rearing to go. I mean, if I can bottle up just like a little bit of that energy, I'd be in a whole different. I'd be on a whole different level. But
Listen,
it is hard to keep up with you, Edgar.
Life is short.
You're
Life
always
is
thinking.
short.
You're always coming up with ideas. You're always moving, walking around. You're like fidgeting. You know what I mean? You're ready to rock and roll.
I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? So. Anyways, guys, let's jump into this thing. For all of you that are watching this video and are probably watching it, I'm kind of tripping out here because I wanted to get a grill for my teeth, John. I wanted to have a grill on the podcast, but I couldn't find one. So what I did is I have the camera setting so it gives me the zebra lighting. And then check this out, people. Check out my teeth. Look.
Wow.
Is that a cool grill or what? Look at that. Damn.
Bling bling.
Damn, bling bling, baby. So if you guys want to watch it, you got to go watch the video. So anyways, for everybody out there, if you have questions, go to poolnation.com, submit your questions. We will answer those. We answer those on the Instagram Live. We'll answer them on the podcast. We'll get those out there for you. The other thing that we are doing, and we talked about a little bit, is the financial business class. That's going to be this Sunday. And I am super excited that we have so many people coming from out of town. Excuse me. So we're super thrilled. Only 2 people are local. Everybody, guys, is driving up from minimum like 4 or 5 hours. We're going to be going and having some dinner on Saturday night, John. So we'll have to talk about where to take them for dinner. And I do want to give 2 big, huge shout outs this week. One of them goes to Brian Croissant. By the way, let me just take a minute here and let me just do a backtrack here because I need to give a shout out for everybody that's listening live over here. So Shannon, Jeanette, Maria, big shout out. Todd, good morning. Janie, good morning. And then, of course, we do the normal thing where Howard's like, hey, John. So, hey, big shout out to you. Howard, big shout out to you, brother. I see you out there. So the other one is Daniel jumped on here. Hi, John. And Daniel goes, hi, Zach. Forget about Edgar. We don't need to say hi to Edgar. So you know what it is, John? They're jealous. They're jealous of my bling.
No, they're intimidated.
Or maybe it's because you call them Hayward and Danielle.
Oh, it is that. Maybe they're looking at me, John, and they're going like, this dude's a dick, man. Like, so anyways, listen, big, huge shout out to Brian. Yeah. Big shout out there to Brian Croissant from Hayward. He reached out to us and he wanted to sponsor our lunch. And by the way, he reached out to me. I didn't reach out to anybody. And this is what I love about some of the partnerships that we have, guys, is that we will actually get people calling us and we don't have to be calling and asking for things. And so big, huge shout out to Brian and Hayward for sponsoring that lunch. Yesterday morning, I got a call from Terry Arco and he said that he was listening to the Instagram Live. He knows that we were doing the financial business class and he wanted to sponsor breakfast for everybody. So how cool is that? Just really completely out of the blue. I didn't ask for anything. He called. We're having a conversation. He said, hey, I'd love to be able to set up breakfast for you guys.
Well, it looks like I'm probably going to be flying out to Texas. I got free lunch and free breakfast. It'll be well worth it.
And by the way, for those that are listening, I do have a couple of tricks up my sleeve for you guys out here. So you're going to want to come out, right, John?
That's
kind of scary.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, John, is we have a little surprise, but then also we're going to give them a tour of Studio A. So we're going to go play in Studio A. We're going to play and shoot some videos and kind of have some fun in that Studio A. So anyways, so big shout out to Brian, big shout out to Terry. Thank you so much, guys, for reaching out and for sponsoring the meals out there for everybody that's come in for the class. So let's dive into this today. And a couple of weeks ago, we got a question from Jeanette Horn about qualifying customers, and we talked about it in that peer-to-peer meeting, and it was a lot of great information. So when we did episode 1 of this podcast, we talked about a couple different things, and I'll give a really quick recap. Number 1, we talked about what red flags you should look for when you're taking on a new pool, and Zach and John were talking about those. We talked about the things to look for when you answer that first call. So when you're having that first call with the customers, what are the things that you're looking for while you're having that phone conversation? Then we talked about the red flags to look for when you make it to that house and you're actually, starting to get out there, to quote the pool, what things to look for. And then the other thing that we talked about is, with John and Zach, is if it was a really big deal, if it was a first, residence home or not. So we kind of talked about those. And so today we're going to continue our conversation on how to qualify those customers. And we talked a little bit about it, John, last time, but I want to go into a lot more detail on this one today because it seems to be, a big expanding market out there. And that is when it comes to vacation rentals, and you're going over to quote that vacation rental. What are some of the red flags that you look at a vacation rental versus a residential pool?
So sit there and we can talk for about an hour, trying to question and getting a good answer for you. But the reality is, first and foremost, regardless of vacation rental or whether it's just a residential home, it's a pool, and it you need to treat it first of all as a pool and understanding whether or not that's a backyard, um, or a home that you want to service. And that bar, whatever expectations you have on whether or not you would want to service it, then you need to look at, okay, that's like the minimum funding gate on whether you're going to do. And what's most importantly for us is the type of relationship that you'll have with that homeowner or property manager or whoever's running that vacation rental. Because if you think for 1 second you're going to do an Airbnb and it's going to be a hands-off type like most of the other accounts that you have, sometimes you have talkative clients or clients that are always home, and when they come out there, you have a relationship and you speak with them. And then, but for the you're going to the backyard, you do your work, you do your job, what you need to do, and you don't have constant interaction with the clients every single day. In this case, when you're doing an Airbnb, you are going to have interaction with the homeowner, and if there is a relationship between you and them, or you feel you can't build a relationship, then that's something that you're just gonna have to feel out and decide on whether or not you're gonna want to take it on. Because how do I put this? An Airbnb can never treat like a residential pool. You just can't.
There's no way.
Yeah,
No way.
in essence, it's a commercial pool, is what it really is. And the demand for it is going to be at minimum 2, 3, or 4 times what a regular is demanding. Also, as far as the unknowns, right? I hate surprises, and I like consistency when I go into a backyard, and you have a good idea of what to expect from a backyard when you're walking back there. If it was windy, what that pool's probably going to look like. Who usually uses a pool? If the pool never town, if they're back in town, whatever, you just have a good idea of what to expect. Onto a backyard and said, "What the hell happened?" Well, that out the window with an Airbnb, because you just have no idea what you're walking into. And if you think you can smash through an Airbnb in 15 minutes, it's going to be tough for you to do. It's just not something.
There's no way. There's no.
No. You have to take into consideration of the unknown constantly, and you have to charge accordingly for it. If I were to just give one thing to say, and I know I'm not really kind of going into detail, you said going to, but look, if I were just to say that you needed to do before you took on an Airbnb or a vacation rental, is have expectations with the homeowner that your time is, you understand that they are running a business. So they're small business owners in essence, because they're running a business doing their vacation rental. And so are you. So your expectation of what is included in the price. And I would hope that at minimum, be charging at least 50% more than what you're charging for a residential pool, whatever your quote is or whatever your rate is. I would personally, 50% more is a good starting point, to compensate for the extra time and effort you're going to have to take, or text messages, phone calls, and things you're going to have to take, having that pool. And explain to them that any other time aside from this day is, or anything outside of the scope of work of servicing the pool, comes at a cost. And also that you're willing, because you have to also be there for them when they need you. You can't, this is not going to be a type of account, oh, it can wait until Wednesday or it can wait until Friday. The chances are, when they have guests there and something's wrong, or they think something's wrong, or they can't do this, they be able to go there to help them out, or to resolve any situation that's there. Um, but as long as there's an understanding that there's a charge for that, and they're okay with it, and they get that, and you deliver it, it can be one of the most accounts you have on your route if you do it correctly. Break you if you do it incorrectly, and unfortunately most people do it incorrectly. If you're not willing to put that extra effort into that account, I promise you it's not going to last long. They need somebody, it's almost somebody on call. And if you're willing to provide, and they understand that they need to pay for that service, then it could turn into a very, very, very profitable arrangement. We have Airbnbs where, we make four a month, in addition to our weekly service that we do. And when you start, our service calls are $125 a piece. And there's a clear understanding, and it's something that they want to do, and that's something they want. And to them, it's more important that you're available for them to go out there. You're able to go there, resolve the problem, right? And then the guests are happy. And if the guests are happy, then they review them well, and their Airbnb flourishes, right? And they love you, and you'll learn to do once you do it well, right? And the word of mouth is crazy as far as advertisement, and you will get phone calls, because these, I guess, Airbnbers, they're like a clique, right? And they all talk to each other. When they find somebody that's great, and it's hard to find somebody, that they will definitely get your name out there, to service other accounts if you're willing to take them on. Plus, those accounts be very profitable when it comes down to equipment. You don't, when things are broken, they want it fixed, right? There's not this
and it needs to be fixed now.
It needs to be
It
fixed
needs to
now.
be fixed now. So,
And just like anything in life, you pay a premium, right? I got this, I got that, I need this, or you want me to jump through hoops and call favors to make things happen. Well, there's a cost to that. My time is expensive. And they understand it. They're willing to pay it. So it can be a great thing, or it can be the worst thing that ever happened to your company.
yeah.
But we choose to play with vacation rentals, and we have quite a few of them, and they've been very good to us.
They're very lucrative. If you do them right, they're very lucrative. And so I made the mistake, John. I did the same thing. I started with vacation rentals. And again, when I was doing them out over by Disneyland, there was really only like 2 or 3. And by the time I left, there was almost 500 vacation rentals. It had exploded. But I did the same thing. I started with those vacation rentals thinking that it was just a regular pool. And boy, did I learn very quickly that that was not the case. And it took me some time to figure out, that you needed to set those expectations from the beginning, and that you needed to charge those higher rates. And we talked about it yesterday. You and I were on a phone call, and it was like I'd be doing my Thursday pools, and I got 20 something pools, and all of a sudden you get a call and they want it fixed now, and they want it now. And you got to drop everything that you're doing on your Thursday to go all the way back to take a look at it, to then try to figure it out, to then go back and, finish all your pools.
Look, I
Now,
just want to add one more thing to that. And I know I'm a little long winded, but I think this is really important. Maybe a fair warning out there in the business, and you're starting this venture as a pool service company. I highly recommend to kind of hold off on taking vacation rentals at first, unless you're very disciplined and you're able to set those expectations like we talked about. Because real, when we first start, when anybody in that yes man mentality, okay, you want to please, and you think you're in a position where you need them, right? Where I need to do that, and yes, I'll be there, or yeah, I'll go there, no problem, and I won't charge you for it, right? And you start to blur the line. And what will happen is they will take advantage of you, I promise. And once you set an expectation, they're going to hold you. And if you can't deliver on that on a consistent basis, it's not like you can turn around and change that expectation very easily in the future. It'll damage the relationship that you have, and it'll make you regret or dread servicing that pool. When you're a little bit more established and you have and you're confident in what you're doing, you're able to set those boundaries and say, hey, this is what it is, take it or leave it. This is how we're going to do business if you want to do business with us. Or opposed to when you first start, it's like we had our first account, we were there is like, for God knows, an hour. And then any little call, we're there, and we're all paranoid. And of course, I'll be there. And we think everything's our fault when something's wrong. When you're new, oh my God, something's wrong with the pool's dirty. It must be my fault, right? Or there's a leak. Oh, that's my fault. No, right? It's not your fault. That's what happens. You're there as the problem solver, the solution to fix it. And we don't at the beginning, or very few do. So if you're new into the industry going into Airbnbs,
I don't do vacation rentals. Like last time I mentioned, maybe we have some, we're just not aware of it. But I'm curious because dealing with realtors and real estate agents, they tend to be very like cheap when it comes to like getting things done. For the Airbnb side of things, they're more willing to pay the price and they just need it done because, like you said, they're running a kind of a small business essentially. So it's kind of a different dynamic than the real estate.
a little bit different. Don't get me. Definitely some cheap asses out there, right, that don't want to spend money, but they do know that it needs to get done. So it's not so much, hey, I don't want to get it fixed, or I don't want to spend the money to fix it, but I might not want to spend that much. What's the cheaper option? Not necessarily, they don't want to get it done. They get, usually the pool is the biggest highlight for their Airbnb. I mean, that's their focus point. And mostly people who rent that are looking for pools, that's where they want to go. They want to go spend the time in the pool. So that's like the most important part of their rental. And if it's not in good shape, or if it's not pleasurable for the guests, then they feel it, or they'll know real soon that, hey, me cheaping out on costing me down the road. So yeah, it's definitely different. Realtors are always, in my opinion, not all of them, some of them, but yeah, they're the biggest pain in the ass to deal with. And I've wasted more time.
because they're just looking to flip and sell. They don't care. They don't
give
have
a shit. And they'll promise you the world. They'll this, I'll get you this, and
I'll get you these many pools. I'll get you these many friends.
Yeah. When you're new, you're like, oh my God, a realtor. How many pools? Oh, I have it. Can you come do this inspection, or can you come look at this and do that and tell us? I can't tell you how many hours of time and money I've lost and wasted at the beginning of my career because I went down that rabbit hole. Now it's like, look, you want me to go into the backyard to even talk or to look or to check out anything, you're going to pay my service call to go out there. That's it, period. If not, cool. And then what I let them know is, hey, if we need to do, a bunch of work, then I'll apply that towards that or whatever, because they don't want to. Yeah, that's a completely different.
Yeah.
Usually right away.
Yep. So for me, if I'm taking a look at vacation rentals and I'm telling people, hey, let's look at some red flags, I would start off by, you know, trying to figure out, especially like John was saying, whether the people are cheap or not. So you have, just like in any business, right? You're going to have people that are going to want to invest in it. You're going to want to have people that want to keep that in tip top shape. And then you have the other peoples that are cheap, right? Every time that you tell them something needs to be done, they're hum, they don't want to spend the money. So really kind of try to figure out with that customer, if you start telling them, hey, I need you to go there 2 times a week, and they're like, oh, well, let's just do it once a week, right? There's kind of your red flag, because a vacation rental is very, very, very difficult to be able to service once a week. Really, the vacation rental that you're going to be able to service once a week is that vacation that barely gets rented out. But if you have a vacation rental that's getting rented out all the time, think about it. You've got people 8, 9, 10, 14 people in the house, and you have this small backyard pool that's really not meant to have 15, 16 people swimming for three or 4 days in a row. It's going to be very difficult to be able to keep that pool in tip top shape. So flag, start talking to the customer, start having that conversation. They start obviously trying to cut you from the beginning and trying to reduce things. It's probably not a good sign, because like John said, the ones that have been doing it for a while, they've been in the game, they've had some of the problems, and now they're willing to go, you know what, let me pay so that doesn't become a problem. Because here's the thing, you have people checking into a house and that pool is cloudy. What are they going to do? They're going to call the homeowner, they're going to complain, and then they're afraid that they're going to get a bad review online. So guess what's going to happen? That homeowner is going to call you, that vacation rental owner is going to call you and say, hey, I have these people checking in. They're complaining that the pool's cloudy. I need you to get out here and fix that right now. So, you really need to go into it looking at that type of relationship and making sure that they're not cheaping out from the beginning, right? Second thing is, I would suggest really take a look at that equipment pad before you get into that vacation rental. There was plenty of times that I got into those vacation rentals, John, and the equipment was trash. And I'm trying to be nice and not drop some bad words here, but you got these heaters that are 150 years old and they're not wanting to upgrade the heaters, but yet the heater keeps breaking all the time. Or you got pump seal leaking and they're like, oh, well, let's wait and we can do it later on. Or they had that old you know pump that is on its last leg, and that's kind of giving you a difficult time to upkeep that pool. Again, you got to go look at those. You see the old equipment that they're not updating it, that could be a red flag, right? Because if they're in the vacation rental, you need to have that equipment in tip top shape. So, you know, go into it looking like John was saying, like it's a commercial pool, because that's what it is. It's a commercial pool. Vacation rentals are not residential pools. They just happen to be in a residential backyard, but they're a commercial pool. And so they're going to be very high demanding. But here's the beauty of it. They could be very, very profitable. They could be, if you once you make that step and that light switch goes on, John, because it's just a matter of the learning process, and eventually you get there. But once that switch goes off and the confidence goes up and you're able to charge what you need to be charging for those vacation rentals, they could be very profitable.
They can be, and especially equipment wise. We look at that subpar equipment, and I think of it like I don't know, a year and a half ago, we talked about selling to customers and the difference between when a customer tells you no, it's not that no, right? And it's my job to help them know or understand why they need something. And when we look at a backyard or a heater and it's a vacation rental, and I know it's a pain in the ass, or I know they don't have automation, or they have a small little, and the pool's getting used like you're talking 13, 14 people in a 10K pool. And they're saying when you're sitting there and qualifying the customers, conversation. And why am I here? Well, my last pool guy, pool girl, my pool's always cloudy or algae, or you know, pool never has chlorine in it, or it's always dirty or whatever. And kind of get to the and then you those answers that they give you, and you can attribute it to, hey, look, you know, well, your filter's undersized for the application, right? This isn't work. We literally have 7,000 gallon pools that are Airbnbs that we have, where we put in 5 foot filter cartridges in, right? 520 square foot filter.
You have to.
Because I tell I go, you're gonna kill me. I have damn filter once a month. You're gonna pay me more money in filter cleans, you know, and to me it's not worth it, because it's just a waste of that many friggin' filter cleans. And then the disappointment crash, because filtration is so important when it comes down to cleanliness of the water. So if you present them and you go, this was the problem you were having, and this is why, or part of the reason why. Heater, same thing too. Like, you know, to service this heat, obsolete. It's going to cost you a lot of money, and it's going to be hard to find parts to fix this heater. So when we do service calls to come out and fix it, there's a good chance that it's not going to be able to be immediately, because parts are very hard to come by. If we upgrade your heater, right, and get a bigger heater, you have this as the benefit, right? You have parts that are under warranty. You know, you explain them, it makes sense. You know, they can attach dollar and go, of course I want to replace this heater. Why am I going to spend this? Let me do that. If the old heater, you know, you can tell the heater's been there for 20 years and it's a little less efficient, right? It's probably a lot more inefficient now, because the exchanger's sooted up, or it's calcified, or something's going on, right? And you go, hey, look, just alone by putting a new heater in, you're going to save yourself money, because that heater gets used constantly. You're going to save your money in gas. It'll pay for itself over time compared to this one. And you put it into that, and they get it and they want to do it. The other thing is like automation. You know, go, hey, you don't have automation. It's like a no-brainer. If we take over an Airbnb, we need automation. I need to be able to pull on my phone to see what's going on, because there's a lot of things it can tell you, and there's so much that can be fixed via the app. And you present that to them and go, hey, look, now we have controls where now we can save money in service calls, right? You'll have visibility on who's using the pool, how they're using it. If the spa's been left on for 24 hours, right? If they're using the heater and they haven't paid for it, how do you get control? The thing is, because if they can manually know how to work the heater and they turn it on, but yet they didn't pay the pool heat for pool heat, how do you control that? Well, with this, we can do an app. We can set up a password or whatever, you know, and then I want to do that, and it can turn into a chunk of change for you, and make the pool a lot easier to maintain, and make the client that much more happier now, because they have that much more control, or they'll have clients that are that much happier staying at their residence. So,
Yeah, and look, and you know, we're talking about all these things, and customers, if you're having those conversations with those customers and they're not wanting to do those things on a vacation rental, there's your red flag. There's your red flag, man.
Yep.
And you just pick up and you just move on, because let me tell you what's going to happen. And I'm telling you by experience. You think like, oh, it'll be okay. Then down the road, they'll replace it or they'll do it. They won't. And you're going to be getting calls with cloudy pools or pools that aren't warm or all that. And it's just going to create a nightmare of a scenario for you. So especially on vacation rentals, you gotta, you know, treat them as those commercial pools. And if you don't, it will come back and bite you in the, you know what. So Zach, when you're going over to a customer's house and you're going to give a quote, how much importance do you put on the pad when you guys are taking over a pool?
So initially, we just kind of look at it, get a visual idea of like, is this thing old, outdated? Where is it at? are the pumps functional? It's more of just like a functionality thing. Because we have a startup service, which includes, so once they commit to going out or to signing up for service, we go out and we'll do that full deep dive diagnosis and inspection of the equipment. We'll provide them for an estimate at that time. So when we first go out, we don't put a lot of importance on it. It's just, hey, is there equipment? Hey, does the pump turn on? Hey, how does the filter? Is it leaking all over? Some pictures, and that's it. And then once they make that commitment and they pay for that startup service, then we'll do the deep dive.
So you go out, and what happens if you get to that situation where you have some equipment, you have that old pump that really is just not working that well? Do you require them to make that change before you start service?
Depends. So if it's just an old pump that maybe sounds like it's starting to go on its way out, we'll notify them and set that expectation that this pump is on its way out, so you can expect to have to replace this at some point. Now, if we go out to a pool and you know how it is, hey, I want to get service. There's a little bit of green. You go out, it's a swamp. There's 4 feet of grass around the equipment. You can barely find it. At that point, before we even move to a startup, it would be a service call where we would send out Justin or a licensed tech to go out, do that full inspection, and then require, hey, we need this area cleaned up. We're going to have to do a turnaround on this pool prior to starting, and we'll give those estimates at that time.
That's awesome. Hey guys, let's do this. Let's take a quick word from our sponsors. When we come back, we will continue.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add reoccurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation podcast. We're talking to John. We're talking to Zach. We continue our conversation with red flags with customers. We kind of did a little bit of a deep dive into the vacation rental market, and we keep getting a lot of questions on that, Zach. I think it's just becoming so much more common nowadays, the vacation rentals. And I think pretty much in every market that you go to, I said pretty much, not every market, but pretty much a lot of the markets, you're kind of getting those vacation rentals. And the point with the vacation rentals is that, like John was saying, most of them, one of the biggest attractions is obviously the pools. And you kind of go out, you're kind of trying to find a vacation rental with a pool. You got kids, they can obviously swim, get distracted, have a good time while they're there. And you really kind of can't treat those as a residential. You have to treat it more as a commercial, and you have to quote it like that commercial. So, anyways, we continue our conversation with regards to the red flags. And Zach, let me ask you, um, for you, is a red flag for you a yard that has, 3 or 4 dogs in the backyard? Backyard's kind of not upkept as much. Do you put a lot of focus on that? Is that something that you look at?
So no, to be honest, and it's something that we're gonna start looking at more. And the thing is that without being direct or intentional with that question about are there animals that get in the pool, because now you realize there's ducks and there's dogs and there's all sorts of crap that gets in there. But it kind of opened my eyes a few weeks ago. We had this pool on route for a few years, and every summer when we get into the heat of it, we start getting that little bit of algae, and we battle it and battle it, and we get it whipped into shape, and then some time goes by and we get a little more. And we've done a lot of different things. We've investigated it a lot of different ways and tried different things, and it just continues to be a thing. Well, after a few years, I'm there a couple weeks ago, and there's a dog in the backyard, and I'd never seen this dog before. And he starts getting up and jumping into the pool over and over and over while I'm there. And it made me realize, okay, like maybe this is part of the problem. They have dogs. So they have 2 dogs, once I asked them, that use the pool all the time. So this is a question that we are going to add to our checkout when we first go out and look at the pool, and bather load. I mean, just asking people. We had another customer the last week, and they use their pool for like hosting parties or something, like a business. Like they have people come over and they host these pool parties. It's the weirdest thing, but you just never think to ask about these things initially.
Yeah, and I think there's a new app or there's a new platform where people can
Swimly,
use
I think it's
what is it
called
called?
Swimly, I think
Swimly.
something
And
like
so
that.
you basically rent out the pool, right? Is that how it works, John?
Yeah, it's retarded. Yeah, it's crazy.
And so people just, yeah, so that's another good thing to obviously take a look at and try to figure out. So, John, what about you? Do you really kind of focus a lot on pets in the backyard?
Oh yeah, pets are like a big no-no for me, and it could be because I'm a big baby now. Because I was attacked by a dog, uh, I don't know, 6 years ago, and almost died. But they're an unknown, right? And if they're not, I love dogs and I love animals, but I love my dog, right? Uh, you know, it just it makes my day difficult going into a backyard. If it's a small dog, it's not. I'm not worried as far as like as like physical fear of something going. I make it very clear to my clients that when I'm in the backyard, the dog I still have and we have very few. And for those homes, we always knock on the door or we let the dogs are put away. If they're in the backyard, when I walk back there, I leave. Dog in the backyard, I'm done. I'm not going back there. I can't finagle or negotiate with an animal while I'm trying to do my work. It just doesn't fit with me. If they swim, that changes the whole dynamic of pool chemistry. Dogs are, and you hear it everywhere from 8 to 50 times, 100 times, 100 people swimming in it. You just don't know. Dogs are dirty. They roll around in the grass. They shit and they piss everywhere. They lick themselves. It just happens, right? And they jump in the pool. They got a lot of hair, clogs of tears. It isn't. It makes maintaining a pool very difficult. And if dogs are swimming in it, you need to treat it differently, and you need always a question that we ask when a new customer quote, whether or not they have pets, and if they do, what type of pet, and based on the type of pet, do they swim? And if they lie to us and tell us they don't swim and they end up swimming, then we have a conversation. Say, hey, look, we took over this pool under the assumption that swimming, that because they are swimming, your chemical load is going to go up. Use more chemicals, and this and that, and your pool is going to need a little extra attention, and you need to be charged accordingly for it. Okay, and usually they get it and they understand it, but as far as dogs, it is a big red flag for me. And then who likes to walk in and step in dog shit too? Drag a Riptide cart or Power Vac cart through, or step in it, right? Oh, it's the worst. So, no, there's plenty of pools out there, and unless you can have a good understanding with the client and they keep up with it and they hold their end of the bargain, then usually it's a no for us.
I want to follow up and have a question. How do you handle it so do you just say flat out, like, if dogs are in the backyard
Yeah.
or there's dogs at the property, as long as they're put up at service? So let's say they have dogs, but they put them at service, and you have that side by the equipment, which is usually the freaking shit zone.
Yeah.
How do you say anything to customers if
We
you
do.
get that, like, where it's all of your shoes and your carts and stuff?
Yeah.
Can
And
you clean up?
we can leave it in the service notes that way and just say, hey, look, can you please have side area or access area cleaned of the dog poop? You know what I mean? Or whatever. For the most part, clients are very, like, stars are, where they have a lot of due diligence, and they're like, or you're here, sorry, you're here a little earlier than usual. And they run out and they start scooping up and they do what they need to do. It's cool. It's not usually a disaster. And there's going to be a few landmines here or there, and you can navigate through them. They're neglecting it, and they're just literally flipping you the bird and telling you, right? And it's just a row of shit that you have. I won't go down it. And it's just like, no, I can't access this. I'm not going to walk through a fucking tunnel of shit and then get into my truck. It's just, you just let the clients know and say, hey, look, or when we go back there again, barking or whatever, and I know there's dogs, I'll always, like, bang on the gate, or I'll do something, or I'll make a noise, and if it comes running out, I'm gone, and I'll snap a picture of the dog and say, dog was in the backyard. You're supposed to have the dog put away, and they get it.
And I think that this is good for, people that do have employees that they send out to think about, because no one wants to go, trudging through a bunch of dog crap and get it on the shoe and sit in the truck and get it on the floor mat. And a lot of guys are really uncomfortable, or a lot of pool professionals, I should say, are really uncomfortable with animals in the backyard. And it doesn't matter how nice they are. When you're not around, or when the homeowner's not around, they do not know how the dog behaves. And I was not nearly as bad as your incident, but had a homeowner out there with a dog, left it. Oh, they won't bother you. I walked by the dog and it bit me in the thigh. And they just, when they were around, no problem, but they were gone and the dog bit me in the thigh. And it's like, I don't want to subject any of my people to that. It's better for the safety of the animal. It's better for the safety of the people. Just put them up.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing, like with John. So I never used to put a lot of focus on the dogs. I really wasn't worried about it. And it was the same thing, Zach. I went over. So the customer had asked me for something, and I came over and I was leaving it over by the back sliding glass door. And so the dog was, like, mid-sized dog. And so when I was there, the dog was absolutely fine with me. I didn't have any problems. And when I grabbed this and I went to go put it over by the sliding glass door, I'm assuming that it was because I was getting close to going into the house, and I turned, the dog grabbed me and bit me right in the back of the calf. Right. And he got me pretty good. Right. And so, at that point, that's when that started to become a red flag for me. Dogs started to become an issue for me, because it was the same thing. I'm thinking, that's me. I'm the business owner. I'll deal with it. I'll get through it. I'll muscle through it. But once you have employees, it's a different game, right? Because you have to protect those employees. So, from that moment on, those started to really kind of become a red flag. And I remember having his neighbor that had 2 dogs, and it was the same thing. The lady would be like, "Oh, he doesn't bite or he doesn't whatever," but yet he would seem like he was aggressive. And I'm like, "Nope, sorry, can't do this." And I just refused to do the pool because I didn't want to get into, I'm showing up on a Thursday morning, John, you're running behind, 30, 45 minutes. You start to get, that anxiety and that crankiness that you're falling behind on a Thursday. You got a lot of work ahead of you. And now you're having to wait 10, 15 minutes for them to put the dogs away. It's like, I can't have that on a Thursday. I don't want that on a Thursday, not on my day that I have to, get through all these pools. So definitely a red flag for me. I do want to say something over here. So big, huge shout out to Corey, Scotland, Gary, big shout out. And by now, I think what's happening, guys, is that people are figuring out, hey, let's bash on Edgar over on the Insta chat. So Corey jumps on and says, I just want to say hi to Zach and John. So Corey, I know that you're going, Corey's coming over to the business training class. So I'm going to have to get even on that one. I think I'm going to say hi to everybody in the room, but Corey, and see if he catches on to that one, guys.
And I know we've been talking about dogs for a while, but I just had an incident just happened to me. And this was more of icing on the cake because this client, this account, some issues with, and we were going to just let him go because there's a leak that needs to be fixed, and he's hemming and hawing about it, and not there. He doesn't see it as a big deal to him, but he just how difficult it makes maintaining the pool, especially a salt pool, right? And you can't hold any salt, can't hold any conditioner in it. But anyways, I went back to the service and pool on Monday, and they're there in the backyard, husband and the wife. Had a friend over, they're doing something. They had this little dog, this little mutt, whatever it is. And every time I come up, it goes to attack me, whatever. But it doesn't matter because it's literally smaller than my shoe. But every time I walked by or I came close, it would charge me and come, and I'd have to stop and look at it, right? So that it wouldn't bite. And then I'm doing my thing and then keep looking and say something and try to. But it took me an extra 12 minutes maybe to service time I had to take or stop or do this back and forth. And it's yapping at me the whole time. They're sitting there in the fucking backyard and they're seeing it happen, and they got no and they're not telling the dog to shut the fuck up, right? And take the dog inside and leave me the fuck alone. Right? They have no respect. And it's like, and they see me battling, be respectful and professional and doing what I need to do. And I'm already sweating my ass off. It's hot. I'm already pissed off. Right. And it literally maybe 20 times this dog came to attack me. I'm doing to get him. And then they're just sitting there like, who gives a shit? And then to me, when I walked away from the backyard, I was like, that's it. I'm over it.
I'm done.
I'm done. You have no respect for me. I got no respect for you. I'm out of here.
Did you quit?
You can't.
Oh yeah, we're done this month. Last month, it's over. And I was so frustrated. I'm like, and I wanted to look at him. I go, you piece. Who do you think you are? What respectful person would allow, somebody who's servicing for you to be treated that way in front of your eyes, and you not do anything to better it, or you not do anything to try to alleviate. It's like your kids acting like a fool or being disrespectful, and you not scolding them or disciplining them or controlling them, right? When you're out somebody's house or doing something and just letting them run wild and be a fool. I was so heated. I almost punted that fucking dog into the pool. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be pissed at me for saying it. And I was just like, what? Are you kidding me?
Janie's already yelling at him from the corner over there.
Yeah. I was so
But
pissed.
a lot of people think it's cute. That's my
Yeah.
favorite. When
Here's
they're
your
like,
fucking- yeah.
oh, and the
Yeah,
dog's like
yeah,
biting your
yeah,
calves and
you-
stuff.
Well,
and
the
you're just
problem,
like,
the
"Oh."
big challenge
And it was
is that
nipping my
everybody,
crop too.
everybody, everybody always says, "Oh, my dog doesn't bite. My dog doesn't bite. My dog doesn't bite." But they do, right? Those are the ones that kind of go out there. Hey, big huge shout out to Todd Pieri, which is on here. He's saying, "Hey boys, everyone is looking good." Big shout out to you, Todd. We really enjoyed having you out here. We have some stuff coming out very soon from that trip out here. So big, huge shout out to you. So Zach, John, let's do this. Let's go to one more question, and then I will jump in and get your final thoughts. And the last one that I want to ask you is, obviously John probably kind of answered this one, but how much importance do you put now into chemistry with your customers than when you started doing business, right? How much importance do you put into that now in your business?
It is probably more for me, and it's changed over time. It's evolved, right? I've evolved because my business model and what's important to me has changed. When you first start out, you can't always hope for, your soulmate every time, or everything to be sunshine and rainbows, and it to be a perfect life, or everything just to be a cream puff. It just doesn't work that way. And you need to be realistic. But it doesn't mean that you don't strive for that, or you move towards. And it also doesn't mean that you need to settle for garbage and be abused. But as you become more developed, as you become more confident in your abilities, and you become more established as a company, you start to see that that chemistry and relationships with the homeowner, right? Much more than a lot of other things. And you weighted much heavier, because to me, peace of mind, right, is much more valuable, right, than making a little bit more per month per an account, or making a little bit extra dollars in my bank
Absolutely.
account, right? It is quality of life, and quality of work is so much more valuable to me now. Number one important is my focus. And I don't, and it might sound arrogant, and you can look however you want, and I'm not. If anybody knows me, I'm not an arrogant person. It's just that I'm just in a position where I don't need that shit, right? And
It's
I've
the
worked
journey.
hard enough in my life where I've finally gotten to a point where I don't need to put up with that shit in order to live my life. I do what I do because I love it. I'm passionate. I enjoy it, right? And if I don't have that, if I don't achieve that, or if I feel like I felt at that customer's house, and trust me, that's a high paying account, right? And to me, I was like, I can give a shit less. I mean, like, I wish I would have never, ever, ever, ever serviced that house. And that disrespect, to me, it speaks volumes, and it means more to me. So yeah, chemistry is very, very important. But again, I want to clarify, it doesn't mean that you need to be buddy, or you go out to dinner and barbecue, or they have to say, oh, you're the great. That's not it. It's a mutual respect for each other. And I have great chemistry with people that I hardly talk to, but we have that mutual respect. And that's so important. And to be honest, I have clients too that they just love me, right? And we have a great conversation, and they take up a lot of time, right? When you go in the backyard, you say, holy shit, right? And
You're like, am I coming here to service the pool or to talk to you? Because I had plenty of those where it was,
I do.
I spent more time.
Clients,
you spend more time talking to them than servicing the pool.
Absolutely. And it's like, oh my God. And it's like, oh, here's the saga of the remodel of the house and the life and this and that, because they, you like them, and whatever, you have conversations, and that's important too. But chemistry comes in many different forms. And I would more like replace the chemistry, as long as there is mutual respect between each other. That is what's the most important thing that I look for when we service clients now.
Yeah, and that to me is part of the journey, right? Like, you start in the pool industry, you don't look at those things, you don't pay attention to those things, And eventually in your journey, you figure out that those things are important and you start to shift your behavior when you're looking for these customers, and you start to look for that from the beginning. And those are the red flags that stand out. And those are the red flags that you look at and you go, this isn't the right customer. It's better to just not go there and not have the potential of having the headache than taking the customer on. What are your thoughts, Zach?
So total agreement. You're abused a lot as a new professional in the industry, and as time goes on, you do learn to perfect that. And I think it's super important because that most of the times it's going to dictate the relationship throughout the entire time of service. But I will say there have been instances where we, have that customer, they seem a little skeptical, and it's probably because of their experience with other providers in the past. And then at first, it's kind of a rocky road, but over time, by us just being confident and firm and setting firm expectations, then it turns into that respect that John's talking about. And one of our biggest, I've probably told this story before, but one of our biggest advocates on social media, like every Facebook post and ad for a long time, they were just like, "Oh, these guys are the greatest. This is the best company." But when we started, they didn't like us. But it, yeah, you get tired of the abuse, and you get into a point where you don't have to take it anymore. And it's the 20-80 rule, right? So it's like that 20% of people, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, but when you have a team, you have to take that into consideration too, because you wonder why your team leaves when they go out and they're stepping in dog shit and they're going and dealing with customers who belittle them and are rude to them and don't treat them like a professional. And then they're like, hey, I don't really want to deal with this. I'm finding another job. Like, you as an owner or manager or leader, you have to be able to step in and take that burden away from them and make sure that they're not having to go through that.
Agreed 100%. Hey guys, let's do this. Let's take our final word from our sponsors. When we come back, Zach, John, I want to get your final thoughts.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add recurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Welcome back, everybody. We continue our conversation with John and Zach. We are talking about red flags, qualifying customers. We're towards the end of the podcast, and keeping everything with tradition. John, let's go with Zach.
So I'm going to go off topic here. If I seemed sidetracked today, it's because every time I unmute myself to talk, the neighborhood kids start beating on my front door for my kids to come out and play. And I just keep thinking, oh, Edgar's going to be so pissed. And so I finally went and opened the door and, hey, knock it off, and probably looked like Clint Eastwood out of one of those movies where he's yelling at his neighbors. But now they're all literally out there in a big gang, like a pack of hyenas out there. And I'm
Ready to jump in.
John, they're going to steal his. They're going to be the ones that steal his catalytic converter just to get even. Let's get rid of this.
Right.
This old man over here, scary guy.
And shit right now.
That is awesome, Zach.
Oh my god.
John, final thoughts.
Look, it's a great topic. These are like we say, these are the types of conversations and questions that are not really talked about much, right? And they're not because it's just difficult to really, how do I put this? These types of questions are situational, right? And it varies from business and experience, and from experience and experience. But it's good to continue to have these conversations, and we've talked about the same few questions quite a few times. And I'm sure if you go back to all the different times we've answered these questions, though they keep general story, we expand each and every time in different portions of it, right? Or based on new experiences that we come across. I'm always learning, and I'm always figuring out new ways to do things, right? That have worked for me, that haven't worked for me in the past, that are working for me now, or whatever. And I think that types of questions and podcasts are where you kind of get the most out, and or at least it initiates thought, so that you put a little bit more time and effort, or at least have a thought around these types of things, because a lot of people that go into the back really take these things into consideration. And if you're not asking these things, you can't really fault somebody for not telling you, right? You're the professional out there. You're the one who's supposed to know all these things. And if you're not looking for these red flags, then you're going to be the one that's going to end up holding the bag at the end of the day, right? And having to have that tough conversation of either letting that customer go, raising them up accordingly, right? Or for the most part, the reality is that a lot of us out there are just going to be dealing with it, right? And continuing customers before, or we all have them now, where we just hate going into that backyard, and we've been doing it for years, but yet we still put up with that shit. And Zach's telling you that you don't have to do that, right? And life and your business will be that much better if you come to reality and understand that, hey, look with this shit, and these are the types of things you want to stay away from. That money isn't worth it. Doesn't matter how much you really charge for it. Your happiness, your motivation, right? Your time is just not worth that extra dollar or that headache. So you're muted.
Big shout out here to Mr. Bluff over here. He's saying, hey, John, smile. That's true, John. You haven't been smiling very much today. You've kind of been a little over there, kind of with that frown upside down. So good call there, Mr. Bluff. He says, thanks, also, Bluffy. Zach's always has the best takes. So big shout out to you, Mike. So anyways, guys, I agree. I think these podcasts are the great ones where we're able to break down those things for the pool pros, because we've all been through that journey. So Anyways, everybody, I know that John needs to get out there now that he's got all his pools on Friday. Look, he's dancing a little bit out there, kind of probably like trying to send me a signal like let's cut, let's go. I got to get out there. So John, you're going to have to come up with a baseball signal for me so that we're online. And as you do that, we know that means we got to go. And I got to get out there too. I got to go get some stuff ready for the class on Saturday. Everybody coming out to the class on Saturday, super excited to connect. Zach, John, thank you for your time. We'll catch you guys on Wednesday on the Instagram Live. Have a great one, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or poolnationpodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at pool.nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to poolinvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. PoolmanUniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry. A pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at PoolmanUniversity.com.